where the skies are wide. Talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space. Traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight. Just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy. Travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy. Travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeeze so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy. Travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
Thin shell formalism plates so fine. Spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Forces balancing the plate, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound, a shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread.
We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy. Travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear. Exploring the cosmos, our future's here.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the stream today. Today we have our Malaysian Airlines Monday stream. First of all, thank you everybody who's in the chat early on. I appreciate you guys. Got a really exciting stream for you guys here tonight. Wow, it's been a day, guys. It has been a day. I barely got this stream online at the right time because I took Lulu for a walk like an hour and a half ago, and it started downpouring on us. So I got soaked, had to take a shower, but we made it. We're here right now, guys. So pretty awesome. Let's see. So just to get you guys caught up, if you have not been following along with what's been going on today, I woke up this morning, had a reply from Elon Musk. Technically, it was a reply to a reply. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We kind of put James Fox on blast, even though I said I probably wasn't going to bother him anymore. But I saw a reply, and I just couldn't resist. And then there's a clip from Elizondo's book that talks about some orbs. Very similar to the orbs that we're looking at in MH370 videos. So we're going to look at that. We're also going to review some of the science that I posted earlier today, scientific papers. Let's see, what else are we going to do? I have to look and see. There's a couple other things I want to do. I didn't get a list, but man, it's been crazy. Like, you get a reply from Elon Musk, and next thing you know, you've gained 1,000 followers, just like that. It's pretty crazy to watch it increase and going up. So yeah, it's been pretty wild, guys. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about a little bit of the evidence and updates and some other thoughts related to the videos and the case in general. I'll be answering any questions that you guys have in the chat as usual. And yeah, let's have a good stream here tonight, guys. Oh yeah, and then we're also going to review a little bit about what the public thinks about MH370 as well. I'm just looking through some of my old posts here as well. So first thing I want to say as we kick this off here is that we're going to look at the videos just to refresh ourselves here. But there's no way these videos can be fake. There's too much supporting science in the public sphere. That's probably the strongest evidence that the videos are real, is just like how much scientific knowledge there is that's out there. And it just makes perfect sense now why people like Salvatore Paez wanted to talk to us because, you know, these guys, some of these people have seen these kind of videos, right? And Lou Elizondo, we're going to look at Lou Elizondo's notes from his book that's not yet released. And you're going to see that in there, like, obviously Lou Elizondo knows the videos are real. This guy has seen other videos of orbs flying around in a triangle formation in still classified military footage. So you're telling me, okay, anyway, let's do our things one at a time here, guys. Pretty wild. What is this real, guys? Is this comment real, chat, or is he joking? What do you think about Project Unity interviewing a trans woman about human superpowers? Is that real? Guys, I don't really talk smack about other people very much, but I don't like Jay of Project Unity. I'm not a fan of his. I feel like we might be nemesises at this point. We cover a lot of the same stuff, but Jay is like the guy that like doesn't know anything about science. And you know, I'm like the opposite of that. But otherwise we cover a lot of the same stuff. I think it's a little bit funny that he thought the MH370 videos were fake and decided to pull his interview of us. But then he thought he created AI consciousness from a language learning model. Okay. Whatever, man. You know, we're going to talk about the UFO community a little bit today, too. Yes, I am stuffing blue cheese olives here because it's martini time. Okay, let's get started. We are going to start with a quick review of the general case around MH370. For people that are new or whatever related to MH370, you're going to get a quick crash course on what we're talking about. We're going to look at the videos. We're going to go to Elon Musk's post. We're going to look at the James Fox post. We're going to look at the Lou Elizondo thing. And then we're going to look at the science. We may not do it all in that exact order. Also, one thing I do want to say, I'm a little cautious about saying this, but like, I think I finally do understand the physics and science behind the videos at a level where it's all starting to come together. And that's what was so crazy about the post I made about being on the shoulders of giants earlier today. We're going to review that later today as well. But when you just look at the names of the papers, holy shit, chat. How has the public not realized that this science is out there? How have we not realized it? It's just wild. And now when I read those papers, like I don't know, it's almost like when you've learned a new language, it's like all of a sudden you can just understand it where you couldn't understand it before. So I think that's a good sign for me. Okay. Yeah, go make your martini, Tommy. You got to get your martinis going. Oh, also, another quick announcement. I'm probably, although most of the requests for podcasts have died off, I've still been getting quite a few here and there. I'm probably going to stop doing podcasts just like for a while at least. I don't want to say permanently because I don't want to make this whole thing about retiring or whatever, but I'm just kind of overdoing podcasts. I think my profile has risen high enough as well where we've accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. And, you know, it's just taking so much of my time. Like I have too much stuff going on between my job, these streams, and, you know, actually like the multiple jobs, social media, these streams, etc. So I probably won't be doing a lot more podcasts. I do have those clips ready to go from the company that I contracted out to do the clips. I just want to make like an intro clip before I start posting them as well. But I think they posted a few more. I am going to send them feedback to start posting the MH370 clips as well. So you're going to see those on social media going all around. And I do think I have a really good idea at this point of how both over Unity works as well as gravity manipulation. I wouldn't say that I can like go make my own gravity manipulation device, but I will say that like I've seen enough science now to have a really good idea of the fundamentals related to it to an extremely high degree of certainty. And with respect to that, the other thing I wanted to say was that like I hope you appreciate as much as I'm able to say now, because I've already feel like I'm reaching the point where I have to start self-censoring a little bit just based on how much information I already know. And I can understand why some people would think that, oh, Ashton might be a psyop or whatever. I see that every once in a while. Truth is, I can't blame you for thinking that. I can't blame you for thinking that I could be like some element of controlled disclosure. You know, I'm not, but I totally see how people could see that based on how all this stuff plays out. And so I want to apologize ahead of time for if I do get to a point where like I just have to stop doing the streams and I can't really talk about this stuff anymore. There's a real possibility that could happen in the future. I'm not saying anybody's reached out to me, at least not directly related to that. That hasn't happened. But you never know. And if it does happen abruptly, I guess you'll get the message. You guys will understand. So, but that's why I've streamed everything that I've been doing so that there's a historical record of the entire journey, start to finish. So you guys could watch it and, you know, you can go through the same path of discovery that I went through. Maybe it'll help somebody out. Okay. So let's start with mainstream media's take on the case. Okay. Where is that post? Here it is. Okay. So somebody sent a link to this. Where is it? Huh? Oh, here it is. Associated Press. Okay. Can you see that? I have too many windows open, chat. Okay, here we go. Yeah, you guys can see this. This is the Associated Press. This was a post actually from like March. And when you start to read through what the Associated Press and stuff thinks about the missing plane compared to, you know, like what we know about it, it almost just reads like a practical joke. Like you just sit and wonder, like, how is it possible that the public has no idea of what really happened to this plane? So we're going to go through part of it. Let me see here. Who will censor threaten you? White hats or black hats? Probably black hats. I have been told through the grapevine that like we are being monitored now, which doesn't surprise me at all. I would have expected we've been monitored. I've been under the presumption I've been getting monitored for the whole time. So, but that's another part of the reason why I'm like a little bit careful now about this stuff. Like, yes, I'm ultimately at the end of the day, I don't care what happens, but we've got a lot of world changing to do here. I need to be around for another 10, 20 years at least so we can make a difference. Did I see the UFO with the orbs of the Trump rally? Yeah, I posted it. Everybody says it's drones, birds, bugs, whatever. End of the day, I don't really care. The only reason why I even posted that video is because I had about 1 million people pinging me on it. So I figured I'd give the people what they want. So I posted the video. I don't know what that video is or the weird thing flying in the Trump rally or whatever, but there's definitely something there. I slowed it down to super slow-mo, posted the video. A couple people picked up my slow-mo version that I did. There's definitely something in that video. So I don't know what it is, guys. End of the day, guys, for my UFO lovers out there, I'm not even really that big on UFOs anymore. I've already seen like the best UFO videos in existence. So it's kind of hard to go back after that. Okay. How long have I been doing this? Since August of last year. So almost a full year now. I didn't start live streaming until, when was that, guys? Probably November of last year. Right after the Salvatore Pais stuff, I decided that the best way to do this was to make sure I was live streaming everything I did. And the reason for that is to protect myself and to have there be a record of what we've been doing. Because I knew people would think that, oh, this must be some kind of psyop or something like that. So I figured, what's the best way to prove that it's not the case? Well, just live stream everything and be as honest and open as you can, right? Isn't that the best way to combat misinformation, is just to be as open as you can about everything you're doing and everything you're discovering? So a lot of the people in the chat right now who are the OGs, so to speak. Yeah, so William Bill, for example, is one of the OGs in the chat right now, saying that he says it's been around Halloween. Yeah, that sounds about right. These guys know that all this stuff is real. The reason why they know this stuff's real is because they've been watching as we've been going through the discovery with me. A year ago, if you had told me we could warp planes and have anti-gravity technology and free energy and stuff, I would have thought you're out of your mind. But when you actually start to dig through the evidence, look at the scientific papers, talk to the engineers, you're like, oh shit, yep, we have it. Yep, we've got it. I don't know how. It's crazy, right? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to go through. Honestly, I've been live streaming. I used to live stream like 5 times a week. So, but since I got sick, I peeled it back a little bit. Anyway, so this article is from the Associated Press. I think I put a link here at the bottom of it. And it's crazy because the article basically outlines how there must be a conspiracy around MH370. Actually, sorry, I just remembered something very important. So I got a call from the Department of Energy today, by the way, guys. I got a call from the Department of Energy today. It was about the FOIA request. So the headquarters for the Department of Energy sent the request to the NNSA, which is something, they said they were like the nuclear science people or something like that. I was like, what? I was like, are you serious? Yeah, that Department of Energy. So, and because I put my request in and I had asked for, I wanted everything they have on, what did I say? Over Unity, 0 point energy, and magnetic monopoles. I said I wanted everything they've got on those 3 things. And I think somebody like, it must have triggered a red flag or something. So this lady calls me. It's the first time a FOIA person's ever called me, and I've FOIA'd like everybody. And so I kind of start red pilling her because like she doesn't know. She's just like some clerk or something, right? So I like start red pilling her. I explain like why I want the information related to the videos and stuff like that. And so we end up settling on low energy nuclear reactions and magnetic monopoles. And I specifically tailored the request to Sandia National Labs and Los Alamos, which are 2 of the DOE official national facilities. And it's funny because I looked on their website. They have a website, and it says what the labs do and what they specialize in. So it's a pretty funny story, right? So I specialize in Taylor that. I figure I'm gonna get nothing back, but like whatever, man. We're gonna give it a go. I'm definitely on some radars now, though, for sure. So we talked to the DOE lady. She was super nice. I thanked her a lot for her helping me out to try to like retailer the FOIA request to see what we could get out of them. While I was on the DOE's website, which I'm not going to show right now, but you guys can go find it on their website, that image of the heat signature in the orb on their plasma physics website. It's in their website now. The same one they posted on Twitter that looks just like the MH370 orb. I'm like searching for the names of the laboratories while I'm on the phone with her. And I'm on their website. I'm like, there's the image of the right there. The image is right there of the heat signature of the orb. I was like, this is why I'm FOIAing you guys. Like I'm staring at a heat signature that looks like a plasma orb with a magnetic monopole in it. Too funny, guys. It's been a day, man. It has been a day. The DOE called me. Elon Musk responded to me. Elizondo, who has like a couple pages of his book are out there. They're talking about orbs. Like this is wild, man. My life is like a movie right now. It's too crazy, man. It's that orbs guy again, boss. It's that orbs guy. Oh man, I love it, chat. I love it. Okay, so mainstream normies, right? The first paragraph basically talks about how it was the most expensive search in history and they found nothing. A massive multinational search in the South Indian Ocean where the jet is believed to have crashed found nothing. Apart from some small fragments that later washed ashore, no bodies or wreckage have ever been found. Now, keep in mind, these fragments here, the mainstream media article, and this isn't like an old article. This article is from March, okay? So this is 10 years later. Hey, K-Stack, welcome to the party. Hey, yo, Deanna, welcome to the party, everybody. All the new people, there's like 1,000 new followers today as well. They don't talk about the fact that this debris washed ashore in Africa, guys. The debris washed ashore in Africa. So rewind 10 years. The whole world is trying to figure out what happened to this plane. They find nothing, right? So a year goes by, they find nothing. The whole world's like, what are you talking about? Is a plane just went missing? And then all of a sudden, a few pieces of debris start washing ashore in Africa. The whole world's like, what do you mean Africa? You're searching in the South Indian Ocean. That's near Australia. The currents flow to the east. What do you mean Africa? And so what do? They freak out. They're like, oh shit, we can't explain this. So when you look at these articles, what you'll notice is they only talk about the flaperon. Why do they only talk about the flaperon? The flaperon washes up in the Reunion Island, which is the furthest piece, the piece that was furthest to the east. All the rest of the pieces wash up way further to the west, like on the east coast of Africa. It's literally impossible for any of that debris to have washed there from the crash site where we were searching, which right away, basic common sense, right? If that debris is too far away, the crash site must be wrong. So then for my people that are new here, you're going to go, well, if the crash site was wrong, why are we searching there? This should be the logical question anybody asks. The reason we're searching there is because of fake satellite pings. So people got married to the idea that these satellite pings, so some independent investigators were given these satellite pings. Basically it's basically 10 rows on an Excel spreadsheet. That's what it is, 10 rows on an Excel spreadsheet. They were given 10 rows on an Excel spreadsheet. And these independent people just made up a method of trying to figure out what that means. They made it up. Never been done before. Novel interpretation. And they decided they know this plane must have therefore gone into the South Indian Ocean. That's the reason why we think the plane went into the South Indian Ocean. 10 rows on an Excel spreadsheet. And so why won't people accept that the crash site is wrong? Even though we found nothing there? Even though it's impossible for the debris to have drifted from there? Because these people don't want to admit that they were wrong, that the satellite pings were wrong. That's it. The only evidence the MH370 case has ever had to throw out is the satellite pings. Once you throw out those 10 rows on the Excel spreadsheet, the whole narrative changes. It's no longer a suicidal pilot flying into the South Indian Ocean. Now it's a fire emergency event, and the plane ends in the Nicobar Islands, right where we have 2 videos with coordinates staring at them, right? Pretty wild. Can I prove the spreadsheet theory? Yes, I can. I'm one of the only people on Earth that actually looked through the satellite pings. Because, of course, nobody looks through any of the evidence, right? So I'll just go ahead and show you right now. I have, for the record, I have all the receipts, like all the time, right? So this is the satellite pings. So on the left, you'll be able to see the time. So if I were to pause it, for example, and make this bigger, you can see the time. So 16:06. So this plane took off at 16:42. This is in UTC time here. Okay. I'm going to let this play out for a second while I stuff this last olive. The time we have the plane going dark is 1840 UTC. Not going dark. That's the time we have the plane disappearing in our videos, is 1840. So 1840. So all the pings I think are legitimate until 1840. And you see all this data, right? You can see me like highlighting the data here, showing you how many rows there are. I mean, look at how much I'm scrolling here. 1840. So this is the plane taking off right now. And look at all these rows of data. Look at all this data. 1855. I mean, it's like every couple minutes we got more rows of data, right? 1707. This is the time. 1707 is when the experts claim the system, the ACARS, was turned off. The plane actually goes dark at 1721. There's no ping corresponding with the plane going dark. That should be another red flag. 1805 here, 1828, 1839. Now here's 1840. This is the first phone call. This is the first phone call to the plane at 1839. That's what you see here with this C channel. This is a phone call. So they call the plane for the first time at 1839, the same time the plane supposedly turns into the South Indian Ocean and the Nicobar Islands. The same time where we're watching in 2 videos being surrounded by orbs. Now, after 1839, how much data is there? Right here. This thing you see here on the bottom left, This is 5 hours of data right here, 10 rows on an Excel spreadsheet from 1941, 2041, 2141, 2241, 2313. 5 hours. These 10 rows right here are all that stands between this plane disappearing at the Nicobar Islands at 1840 up here and this plane going into the South Indian Ocean where the crash site was. That's it. There you go. Someone literally took this 10 rows of data. If you look at the data here too, it's like completely inconsistent with the data beforehand. It's got a completely new satellite ping. There's like this pattern of the channel changing between 10 and 4 here. It literally just looks like somebody just inserted these rows of data in here. As somebody that works with relational databases like every day of my life for the last 20 years, and all relational databases is basically a bunch of Excel spreadsheets mapped together. There's no way anyone with any experience looked at this and didn't realize there was an anomaly right here. And the anomaly's location is the exact place where we claim the plane turned into the South Indian Ocean. There's no way that's a coincidence. So yes, I can prove it. There you go. It's funny because this was like when I looked at this, I just thought, how the hell did everybody miss this? And I looked at this back in September of last year. That's when I took the screenshots and stuff because I was like, the data just stops at 1840, and then now there's just 10 rows of data. Inmarsat data is a joke. They clearly falsified the Inmarsat data. And why would you falsify the Inmarsat data? Because you're trying to send people on a wild goose chase, right? Send people on a wild goose chase to the South Indian Ocean. We find nothing. There you go. So let's go back. Pretty crazy, right? What's crazy is that nobody takes what I post seriously, even though I've done it probably, if not the most, like up there with as much investigative journalism as people like Florence Changi. You know, pretty wild. Okay, so the transponder abruptly stopped. So this was when the plane went dark at 1721. The transponder stops. Now, if you guys watch those stupid videos like Green Dot Aviation or Mentor Pilot, they all lie in their videos and they claim that the pilot turned off the transponder. There's actually no evidence that the pilot turned off the transponder. It's easily just as explainable that the fire event, like an emergency event, happened, and that's why the transponder went off. Like if there's a fire and it damages the electronics bay, yeah, the transponder can be turned off by that. It's weird that nobody, even these pilots that know how dangerous fires are, they won't accept the possibility that there was a fire on board this plane. Because it actually is explained by the flight path. And the plane turns and goes to where? Penang, the closest airport to land for a Boeing 777. Boeing 777 is a giant plane, by the way, guys. And so then weirdly, even in this article, it says military radar saw the plane turn around and travel over the Andaman Sea. So it goes over Penang and then it goes to the Andaman Sea and then it vanishes. And you're like, okay, like if the plane is vanishing in the Andaman Sea, why is that not the point of interest? Like that's where we should be searching. And it turns out if we look at the Nicobar Islands where the Andaman Sea is, that's the coordinates we have in our satellite video. Like literally right there. It's 300 miles from the last radar location. Pretty crazy, right? Anyway, so let's see. And then the official report, and this is like, I've just pulled these points directly from this article that's linked at the bottom here. Unlawful interference was not ruled out. The official report basically is claiming that unlawful interference. Now, why are they using the terminology unlawful interference? To me, when you use the term unlawful interference, you're talking about like a state-sponsored hijacking here. If this was just like a normal hijacking, they would say it's normal hijacking. If they thought it was pilot suicide, they would say that the pilot took control of the plane. Unlawful interference is saying that somebody stepped in and did something to this plane. This tells me that like the people who did the investigation, they know that the evidence does not add up. That like the only thing that makes any sense to them is that some higher power stepped in and did something to this plane. That's why all the evidence is so weird and doesn't really make sense when you line it up next to each other. So I think that the term unlawful interference is very interesting. Malaysian safety investigators cleared all people on board in 2018 report, but didn't rule out unlawful interference. So they're saying that nobody on board the plane is suspicious, but we can't say that it's not unlawful interference. Well, who else could it be? I mean, an actor outside of the plane did something. Who would be that person? Well, probably another government, right? And then they say who was on the plane, and this is just parts of the people on board the plane. They literally say 20 employees of the U.S. tech firm Semiconductor or Freescale Semiconductor. How is that not the biggest red flag ever? It's funny because everybody who looks at this, like a lot of the conspiracy theories out there, are like it's got to be related to these 20 semiconductor engineers. Of course, it's related to them. There's like a literal article that says these people were very important people related to the company. 20 people who are very important. 8 of them are Chinese nationals and they're working for an American company and they're fleeing to Beijing. I mean, to me, it's like red flags are going crazy right here, right? 8 Chinese nationals that might have secrets related to U.S. defense on board this plane, and they're very important people, and they're working for this semiconductor company that's $7 billion in debt that gets sold off the next year. Guys, I mean, this is clearly the motive. You're staring at it, right? Like, this is about technology. This is about national defense, etc. Wild, man. Yeah, some of them had their family on board. Shout out to Arwen. I don't know if she's in the chat. She found out where they were all sitting on the plane. Yeah, there you go. And they are sitting next to each other, like in a big row on the side of the plane. I'm like, so the reason why that's important is that means they booked their flights together. And if the company booked their flights together, how do they not red flag it and say there's too many people on board this plane? My company, which isn't nearly as important as, semiconductors for defense, our policy is 2 people on the same plane. They've got 20 people on the same plane. Like, this is the reason why you don't allow more than 2 people on the same plane. Because when planes disappear and you've got your very important engineers on it, you don't want to lose them. So not only did the search find nothing, but they repeatedly found nothing. So there was this seldomly known, there was this report where they claimed to have found some acoustic signal that might be the black boxes, but they knew before, and it delayed the search by like a month. This was back in I want to say April of 2014. The report was obviously fake because the acoustic detections from the black boxes transmit on a very specific frequency that cannot be confused by like whales and other shit like that. So they knew when the frequency wasn't correct that it couldn't possibly be the black boxes. But they still delayed the search to look for those black boxes. And then, of course, when they found out, they went and found out, no, it was just like some faulty. They have these devices they throw in the water that they brush along the water to try to find the black boxes. They found out it was just like a faulty electronics device that was causing the frequency signal. It's like this whole shit is so sketchy. Like nothing really adds up. And then, so Ocean Infinity, they're the ones that have these submersibles that search underwater. So in 2018, they did another no fine, no contract fee with Malaysia, and they searched in a different area. The no fine, no fee is basically saying if we don't find anything, you don't have to pay us any money. And then they found nothing again. So they searched for more months. They still find nothing. Where do these people think this plane crashed? There would be a giant debris field. It's not like it's just going to like sink directly into the water. If a plane crashes, it's going to blow up in a million pieces, even if it has no fuel in it. Yeah, this is wild, right? Like, it's so crazy to me that like people, and this isn't even like the crazy evidence and stuff like that. We haven't even looked at the videos yet, right? So you look at this and you're like, how are people not using common sense here? No debris field means no crash. Simple as that. There's no scenario where the plane crashes without leaving a massive debris field. So if you searched 120,000 square kilometers and you found nothing, you should probably question whether or not the evidence that led you there is accurate or not. I mean, that's just me, right? Crazy. Okay, here we go. Cheers, by the way, chat. Oh, so by the way, Ocean Infinity, They're doing another search in November, another no contact, no fee, which is a no fine, no fee thing. They're going to find nothing again. Why are they going to find nothing again? Because they're searching in the wrong location. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Okay, so when I put it together, repeated searches found nothing. Planes don't crash without leaving debris fields. Follow-up search found nothing. The pieces that washed ashore don't even prove that there was a crash. It's only like 10 to 20 tiny pieces of the airplane. And they show up in the wrong continent. The turn back of the plane indicates an emergency event. The plane goes dark and it turns back. That must be an emergency event. And you know what? I'm going to play this other video while we're doing that so you guys can see. For my newer people here, I know people that have been watching this whole time, a lot of this is probably a little bit repetitive, but we got new people. So I'm going to play this video in the background because here's the flight path right here, guys. So this fire event starts when this plane goes dark. It turns back. The official report considers unlawful interference. Only a state-sponsored actor could pull off a high-tech hijacking. The plane ends up disappearing from radar after it goes over Penang Airport in the Andaman Sea near the Nicobar Islands, despite the fact it's in range of 5 radars from 3 different countries. So there's 5 radars where this plane, you can see where it says here, last contact by Malaysian Airlines at 1822. There's still 5 radars in range at this point. None of them have ever come forward. How does that make any sense? You've got a missing Boeing 777. You've got 5 radars in range of this plane from Indonesia, Thailand, and India. None of these countries are speaking up. Guys, it's just a cover-up. I mean, that's the only explanation, right? We know there's 20 important engineers from the American company Freescale Semiconductors. 8 are Chinese nationals. Semiconductors and advanced microchips are used in practically all advanced technologies, and the company was tied to U.S. aerospace and defense through a 2005 National Security Agency report on superconductive microchip assessment. I mean, what? Like here, like guys, if you want to read really red-pilled, like here you go. You're about to be red-pilled harder than you've ever been red-pilled right now. How does this exist? How does this exist? Superconducting technology assessment. National Security Agency, NSA, Office of Corporate Assessments, August 2005. Okay. Now let's just do Control F, Freescale. What? Freescale Semiconductors, pre-production of their microchips, commercial pre-production of Freescale, Freescale Semiconductors again, Freescale demonstrated pulse densities, blah, blah, blah. Since then, Motorola Semiconductor, now Freescale Semiconductor, has invested several $100 million to produce his microchips. What the F, man? I remember when I went on the Julian Dory podcast and we went through all this. And he's like, oh, yeah, but it's like 200 pages long, so it doesn't really mean anything. What are you talking about, dude? It's a literal superconducting assessment. They talk about Freescale Semiconductors all through the report. Like, what? Blows me away. Okay. Let's go back. So anyway, the irony of the case, as I was mentioning in that last post, is that it's obvious that the United States took this plane. No other state actor could pull off a cover-up this big, right? It has to be a state actor. And as we're about to show, we've got 2 perfectly in sync videos that are U.S. military classified assets. So let's watch the videos, chat. And then I want you to watch these videos because I want you to have the context before we start looking at Elon Musk's post and James Fox's and Lou Elizondo's. Like, what are we actually dealing with here? This is what we're dealing with here. This is some kind of satellite video. We know because we're looking at coordinates, and the video is called satellite video. We can see the mouse coming in the screen. This is somebody logged into a remote terminal session and doing a screen recording, cropping it down. We're seeing orbs circle this plane. Look at this orb. The orbs immediately get into a perfect triangle formation Wherever they come from, we don't know. They could come from anywhere, honestly. Space, water, airplane, submarine, boat, satellite. We don't know. They're obviously mapping the plane. So we can tell these orbs have purpose. You can tell that right away from the video. The person moving the screen around like this, I've never seen any video in my entire life where they move the screen around like this. Never in my whole life have I ever seen a video like that, right? Like if you watch closely here, you see this mouse in the bottom left. There's a little mouse there. People think it's a bird. It's the mouse, or the cursor. It's the mouse cursor. The mouse cursor is always stationary when the screen moves, which would indicate they're pressing like the middle mouse button to like move the screen around. Like right there, they move that and then they move the screen around. Never seen anything like that. And they're obviously pressing some kind of start and stop record button because the mouse comes from the top right hand of the screen. This orb slow down right here near the end too. Pretty bizarre. And somebody posted a comment in the chat, which we're going to address here in a second. And then the plane's just gone. Just gone. Straight up gone. You can tell that whoever recorded this probably like this melted their mind. Because the person that recorded this was looking at this and they're like, how is this possible? I would be freaking out. Without the knowledge I have now, and I saw this happen on video that I knew was authentic, I would be asking how the hell this is possible. I would probably be recording this as well to push it to the public, to be like, the world needs to know what just happened to this plane because no one else is going to ever figure it out. Now, here's the scary part. What if it really isn't the government? What if this really is aliens or non-human intelligence? Because I still don't think it's conventionally aliens. It's not going to be like, there's no little green men inside these little orbs. But what if there's some kind of super advanced AI that controls the world already? Like, what was that Marvel movie? Age of Ultron. Like, what if there's like an Ultron that's controlling the world and it's got plasma orbs? Because this is definitely like AI with these orbs here, or some kind of super advanced computer or something like that. That's how they're doing all this thing. It really makes me wonder, like, is this reverse engineered technology or what? Yeah, they cropped this video as well. They're cropping the screen. We know it's cropped because the drone is just out of view. So, and this is a much bigger field of view. Even the people that think the video is fake, they think that somebody took images of clouds and then collaged them all together to a big, huge field of view. And then they did some kind of screen recording on a hoax video or something. Like, the story doesn't even make sense for how they faked it. Like, this is a Citrix session. The government literally uses Citrix. That's your remote terminal session. That's what they're using right here to log into this. Like, somebody's not filming this with their camera. They're filming this on a computer. Pretty wild. But yeah, so let's look at the second video. So that video gets leaked. We're not going to go through all the details of the videos right now. I just want to highlight them for a second. And then because that wasn't enough, then they send us the second video, or they post the second video on the internet. Completely different type of video. Not even remotely the same as the other one. The other one was a wide field of view. This one's now like more boxed view, right? You can see you got the black bars on either side as well. It's obviously a drone right away. There's still some speculation as to whether or not we're looking at the wing of the airplane or the drone here, or if we're looking at like the camera housing. End of the day, doesn't even matter. As long as the video is authentic, the rest doesn't matter. We can see the turbulence when this drone goes underneath the wake of the plane right there. You see that turbulence. And then you can see the camera shake increase as they zoom in. You can actually, when you like fast forward in and out during the zoom, you can actually see 3D dynamic parallax on the clouds as well. These are real clouds. Like this is not something, as much as people think, nobody can fake this video. This video would like win like cinematography awards and visual effects awards at the Oscars. That's how good this is, easily, because the video was published in 2014. This video is 10 years old. It's like trying to fake a real video. It's too much detail, too difficult, you know? The shake is accurate to like actually the operator trying to keep the camera on the drones and on the plane. Because these are drones. These are being manually remote controlled. The heat signatures are way too difficult. Like these heat signatures, this is why I was FOIAing the DOE. Let me see if I can't slow this down, but I'm going to try to pause it. You can see the heat signature on the top left of this orb here. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. It's consistent with the magnetic monopole and plasma physics, which even today isn't even considered like mainstream. It's considered like a fringe physics theory, even though there's been scientific evidence to support it. So what we're looking at here is basically like cold fusion. I mean, look at the heat signature of this orb. I don't know how people think this would be faked. I guess they're thinking that somebody like painted in this heat signature manually on every frame. There's no logical explanation for how anyone could even remotely try to fake this video. It certainly can't be done in After Effects. And then people have tried, by the way, to make this in After Effects, and it looks so terrible that they ended up never posting the video ever again. I sometimes post their video because it's so garbage that I want people to see just like literally how impossible this video is to recreate. And then, of course, like they gave up trying to recreate the video because there was no chance they were ever going to recreate this. And we'll show that part in a second. And then the plane's just gone here. So pretty wild. Hey, Billy, Knowledge Side, good to see you, man. Or No Downside, good to see you. Yeah, I think AI is going to end up taking over the world, frankly. It does kind of have that feel to it, right? If it turns out this is somehow not our technology, that's way scarier to me. If this is not US technology, we're fucked. Whoever has this technology has absolute supremacy over the planet. It's like when we had air superiority. Like if you guys remember the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, when we have air superiority, like you can't be touched. This is like having air superiority, but I would call it space superiority. Whoever has space-time superiority, you're light years above everybody else. No one's even remotely close, man. So good question. What happened to these people? You know, like here we go. Here's the slow-mo of it. My opinion is that these people probably died. Many of them probably died before we even got to this point. Because you have a depressurized plane, potentially while the pilot's trying to battle the fire. You've got this toxic smoke from the plane, from the fire, from the lithium-ion battery fires. What we found out from the South Korea lithium-ion battery fire a couple of weeks ago is that just a couple inhalations of this toxic battery smoke and you're done. Just a couple inhalations. Like 22 people died, and most of them just didn't realize how dangerous the smoke was. And once you're unconscious, that's it. So pretty scary. Yeah, I think it's possible that only the pilots or a few people may have survived. It's really too hard to say. I mean, and then we don't even know, like, is it possible to survive this kind of event? Generally, physics would say that wormholes are humanly traversable, like walking through a doorway. So that part I'm not too concerned on. If this really is a wormhole, I think they could have survived. If it's not a wormhole and it's like macroscopic phase conjugation, like a reversion of mass to energy and then back to mass, then you could have some Philadelphia experiment stuff happening. I don't really know. Now I want to show this version of the video as well. This is the black and blue version, color changed. This one's going to show you the thing that's the most impossible part of the videos to fake. And that is I was calling it the dark energy laser. So if you guys have been following my posts recently, I posted a video about negative mass. Now, mass is energy. E equals mc squared. So E equals mc squared says energy is equal to mass times the speed of light squared. So energy is mass, fundamentally speaking. So if you're able to produce negative energy, then theoretically you're going to be able to produce negative thrust. What is negative thrust? Well, that's something that's going to be pulling you forward. And if you watch the videos on negative mass, it looks just like what we're looking at with the movement of these orbs. When negative mass hits an object, it does the opposite of what you'd expect. If your positive mass hits your negative mass, it's going to get accelerated forward instead of slowing down. That's just F equals ma. Basic physics. Force equals mass times acceleration, which means acceleration equals force divided by mass. So if your mass goes down, total mass goes down, your acceleration is going up. Pretty wild. Yeah, negative energy pressure, exactly. And this is the part where in order to understand this and understand how these orbs can move like this, you have to realize, how do you create negative energy pressure? Well, it's just relative. Everything's relative. So if right here, this area here is one pressure, normal pressure, you create negative pressure. You lower the energy state in that area instead of increasing it, right? Instead of thinking of like, here's the thing I want people to understand. Conventional physics looks at space, the vacuum of space. So there's nothing there. There's nothing, like the bottom of this screen, nothing there. But what if it's not that there's nothing there? What if there's an equilibrium of energy? The equilibrium is the middle. So now, if you look at it, instead of thinking that space is empty and has nothing, think of space as full of energy. Now it's a matter of reducing the energy state from the equilibrium or increasing it above the equilibrium. Now you can understand positive energy and negative energy. End of the day, it's all still energy. It's just a matter of looking at it relative to the equilibrium state. And if gravity and space-time are dictated based on this energy state, then manipulating this energy state is going to manipulate gravity. This is the basis for zero-point energy. This is the basis for gravity manipulation. This is how all of it connects together. And also, if I reduce the energy from that state, well, where's that energy going? If I reduce some energy from this side of the screen, the energy has to go somewhere. So it's going to go over here. So it's like squeezing, like as I've been saying, a turkey baster. You squeeze the turkey baster, now the energy flows over here. Or like the rubber band scenario. You extract the energy from over here. Now the energy's got to go over here. What does that mean? If the energy goes from over here to over here, that's free energy. We're extracting energy from our environment, right? This is the connection between free energy, gravity manipulation, and space-time manipulation. They're all the same underlying physics. The same underlying physics is the reason why all of this stuff has been classified. Because if you understand any of it, you understand all of it. It's all connected. Pretty crazy, huh? I don't know what this is. Can someone tell me what this is? I can't like copy and paste it from here either, unfortunately. So if this is relevant, let me know. Yes, and just for the record, it does have to do with the connection between zero-point energy and dark energy. Dark energy is literally negative energy. Exactly the same thing. Dark energy, negative energy, same concept. Why don't we understand what dark energy is? Because it's negative energy, because we don't think we can produce negative energy, but we can. We just take our equilibrium state, reduce our equilibrium state in a localized area. And this is where things start to get weird, right? How close was Ning Li in her final paper? She claimed they would present the anti-gravitic effect in a rotating superconductor in the next paper, but it was never published and she went dark. I think she was probably extremely close. I believe that there is definitely a connection between superconductivity and gravity manipulation. There's probably more than one way to pull it off, but to me, I would call it the easiest way to pull it off. When you look at superconductivity, it's got magic written all over it. Macroscopic quantum effects. What else is a macroscopic quantum effect? Teleportation. So I look at the superconductivity research and I go, yeah, there's something there. My sources say that Ning Li got pulled in and was either working for the Department of Defense or Lockheed Martin or somebody. She was living right next to Lockheed Martin, apparently. So I almost put her on the list today. We're going to look at the list here in a minute as well. In fact, maybe we will look at the list right now, just because I think it's a good segue. So let's look at my post of the list here related to the scientists that know about this stuff. Also, hi, defense contractors. If you're out there watching right now, I hope you're having a good night. For my PMCs, guys, PMC is private military contractor. If you want to know that acronym, I know I use a lot of acronyms. So PMC, private military contractor, is synonymous with the third-party defense contractors, the Lockheed Martins, Northrop Grummons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, if you like your stream PMCs and you want a new employee, let me know. I don't really appreciate, you know, revealing all this technology. I feel like it could be dangerous. I actually told the DOE lady today that I'm kind of sketched out by this because I actually feel like this technology is really, really dangerous. Like this is like the Manhattan Project, like times a million. So in a perfect world, I wouldn't have to do what I'm doing right now. But then I also told her the whole reason why I even started doing this is because I just wanted to get the truth for 239 families that are missing their loved ones, where obviously we covered it up for some greater good. It's always when people do evil shit, it's always for the greater good. You ever notice that? It's always for we're doing this for your benefit. It's like, God damn it, man. I hate that shit. Might be true though. Okay. So here it is. Where is it? Oh yeah, here's Shoulder of Giants. Would I just go dark like that? Hell yeah, I would. You kidding me? If I get to work on this technology, peace, bros. I don't give a shit about 30,000 YouTube subscribers. I don't care about 150,000 followers on social media. None of that stuff means anything to me. If I get to work on magic technology, peace. That's another reason why I'm streaming everything. So that if I do one day go dark, well, at least you guys have all these old streams that you can go watch and you can figure it out for yourselves. Oh, yeah. I probably should say that I'm not suicidal at this point. I haven't said that in like a couple weeks. So I'm of perfectly sound mental health. Some people think I'm unhappy. I couldn't be happier. I have an amazing life. So no chance would I ever hurt myself. If my plane ever goes down or anything like that, it's not an accident. Not an accident. You should be extremely suspicious if anything happens to me under weird circumstances. So there you go. I will say that if I do end up getting hooked up to some degree, I do want to try to pay it back to the society, the community. I do want to try to help out the families of the victims of MH370, and I want to help out the MH370X people as well. People have dedicated a lot of their time, a lot of their energy to this investigation, and I feel like I owe you guys that. Hopefully, at some point in the future, I'll have a way to help give back in either a small way or medium way. I don't know. Okay. So I started digging through. If you guys don't know, I've been reading scientific papers like crazy, like every single day. By the way, guys, like a lot of scientific papers. Brandon's got dibs on the Magic the Gathering poster back there. No way, dude. That poster is probably worth like hundreds of dollars, if not thousands. I don't know how much that poster is worth. I'm gonna Google it real quick. Yeah, $300 for that poster on eBay. Yeah, I can see other ones. $300 for it. I guess it's not that much. You can have it, Brandon. If I go crazy, or if I end up disappearing. So I'm looking at these papers, guys. I'm actually a little bit cautious to even talk about this because these papers, even I was surprised when I started reading these papers, guys. If you think the videos are fake, then just take a look at some of the scientific papers. All you have to do is Google the names of these people and scientific papers, or just the word papers, and you'll get a list of all the papers they've ever published. Surprisingly, the one with the fewest papers was Harold Sonny White. And the reason why he has the fewest papers is because he literally worked for NASA. He worked for NASA. So he probably just didn't get any time to write public papers. But Harold Sonny White, despite the fact that he's got the fewest papers listed on here, he has a whole presentation where he talks about warp drive and the experiment they did to show that warp drive, like they have a measurable effect when they use an interferometer. So let's just read through these, guys. First of all, of course, we start with the GOAT. Oh, these are on my feed. This is on my feed. You guys can find the papers for yourself, though. I got to be a little bit cautious about this, guys. I don't think people really want us looking into this science that much. Thomas Bearden, the GOAT, man. Like this guy, respect to this guy. One of the biggest things I regret in life is not being able to meet Thomas Bearden before he died a couple years ago. Oh, I see a great comment here. You ever go back and watch the old Star Trek The Next Generation episodes? Mirror's research of time, what we knew. Yeah, I mean, honestly, here you go. I just saved this, guys. Star Trek was a documentary, and the events were filmed in real time, guys.
The Highlander was just a movie, I mean...
Oh, Frylock, The Highlander was a documentary, and the events happened in real time.
Yo, Star Trek was a documentary, guys, and the events happened in real time. Like, people are calling me that the guy, I don't even know what his name is anymore. The guy that in the Star Trek lore like invented the first warp drive, and then all the aliens came down and started to talk to humanity. Like people are calling me that guy now, and I'm not even sure. Maybe I am him. I don't know. It could be possible, man. It happens like 30 years. Okay. So Thomas Bearden, the GOAT, anti-gravity effects in the Sachs theory of electrodynamics, 2001. So Thomas Bearden was already writing scientific papers about anti-gravity in 2001. This is already like almost 10 years after Ning Li. So you can start, by the way, the other thing I want you to start to realize is we can actually build a time frame for when this technology started to happen based on these scientific papers. Every single one of these people is a government-associated engineer. They either work directly for the government or private military contractors or NASA or whatever, all of them. So these aren't like random people in the public. These are people like working with the government. So anti-gravity, Ehrenhoff-Bohm effect as the basis for electromagnetic inherent energy in the vacuum. So right here, Thomas Bearden is saying that the Ehrenhoff-Bohm effect, which shows that there's no electric or magnetic field, still the light bends anyway, shows that there must be some inherent electromagnetic energy inherent in the vacuum. What does this open up the door? This opens up the door for the energy I was talking about, that space is not empty. Space is not empty down here. There's some equilibrium of space. Imagine space and the ether is filled with energy. Now we have this equilibrium that we're always at. And we don't see it because we're in the equilibrium. But if we change our equilibrium state or polarization of the vacuum, now we can manipulate gravity. Now the third one, on extracting electromagnetic energy from the vacuum, 2008. So remember, he also talked about the MEG, his free energy device that he patented as well. Now, remember this one, on extracting electromagnetic energy from the vacuum. So you can tell in 2002, he's writing papers about basically 0-point energy. And then in 2008, he's like, well, now we can extract the energy. Okay, that was 2008. Now let's go to Harold Puthoff. Harold Puthoff might be the most genius engineer still alive today. He's up there on like the podium at a minimum, if he's not at the very top. There might be other people I don't know about, but Harold Puthoff, holy shit, do I want to meet this guy? I was going through Harold Puthoff's papers. I couldn't believe what I was reading. And I can see the problem because early on in like the 70s, he's talking about remote viewing and psychic stuff. And then in the 90s and beyond, he just goes into a whole thing about 0-point energy. Like he figured it out. Polarizable vacuum approach to general relativity. So in 2003, he's writing about polarizing the vacuum. So basically manipulating the energy states of the vacuum to explain general relativity. And then in 2006, experimental concepts for generating negative energy in the laboratory. Guys, I've been posting about negative energy in the laboratory for the last few days. And Harold Puthoff wrote a paper about it in 2006. So obviously Harold Puthoff figured out negative energy is the key before 2006. And then in 2012, advanced space propulsion based on the vacuum engineering. So then he realized now put all these pieces together, and you realize he's saying that we can just manipulate space-time for propulsion. So instead of having a rocket, just manipulate the medium. Create a negative energy density, and your object's going to push towards it, just like those orbs are doing in those videos. So this is 2012. He was writing that paper. So this is over 10 years ago. All this stuff predates the videos. And then the real kicker, on extracting energy from the quantum vacuum, 2019. This was 2019. Do you notice anything weird here? It's exactly the same as Thomas Bearden's paper from over 10 years prior. The only difference is he added one word, quantum. That's it. On extracting electromagnetic energy from the vacuum, on extracting energy from the quantum vacuum. What the hell? What the hell? I haven't looked at this paper, but I'm going to guess that he quotes Thomas Bearden's paper, references Thomas Bearden's paper. Also, just by the way, guys, this paper right here, the on extracting energy from the quantum vacuum, that was co-authored by the next person on the list, Eric Davis. So one thing that you'll notice when you look at these guys is that they actually co-author a bunch of these papers together. Harold Pudoff and Eric Davis are in a bunch of papers together. I think Eric Davis and Bob Baker were in some papers together. Like, these guys must know each other behind the scenes, no question. Now, Eric Davis, what the hell, bro? This man is on another level. Like, teleportation physics study, 2004? He wrote a whole teleportation physics study in 2004, and we've reviewed it on our streams. Alcubierre warp drive in higher dimensional space-time, 2006. So Alcubierre warp drive is like how we can manipulate the vacuum. So he wrote a whole paper about using Alcubierre warp drive to manipulate for, basically propulsion in 2006. Look at the next one. Interstellar travel by means of wormhole induction propulsion. He even came up with a whole acronym for it, WIP. Wormhole induction propulsion, 2011. This is 3 years before the MH370 videos. If you had told me that there was a scientific paper about interstellar travel by means of wormhole production by a government physicist, I wouldn't even have believed you. By the way, I haven't read half these papers yet. I'm going to read every single one of them. In fact, once this stream is over, I'm going to read these scientific papers, by the way. I'm going to read everything these guys have ever written, everything Thomas Beern's ever written, everything Harold Pudoff's ever written, everything Eric Davis has ever written, everything Bob Baker's ever written. I'm going to read it all. I recommend you do too. Now, the last one, a review of wormhole stabilization in whatever FR gravity theories means, 2024. He just posted this one. It's a brand new scientific. How come nobody's reviewed this scientific paper yet? Yeah, Eric Davis works with the government. If you don't know, Eric Davis is famous in the UFO community for something called the Wilson-Davis memo, where apparently Admiral Wilson was talking to Eric Davis about crash retrievals or something like that. Who the hell gives a shit about crash retrievals? This man is talking about wormholes, man. My man's talking about warp drives and wormholes and teleportation. Like, excuse me? A review of wormhole stabilization in gravity theories. Not only is he talking about wormholes, he's talking about how to stabilize them too. If you don't think I'm reading this paper like right after this, I'm getting in the tub and I'm reading about stabilizing wormholes after this. We're gonna have a good stream on Wednesday, guys. Okay, and then Harold Sonny White. We reviewed Harold Sonny White stuff. I don't know what the deal with Harold Sonny White is. He's kind of gone off the radar. I don't know if he was silenced or what, but this man worked for NASA's propulsion laboratory. Now, why is this important? Because this is basically, he's talking about EM drive. So I was looking at Salvatore Pius's patent on high energy electromagnetic field generator, HEEMFG, or FG. And he references in the first thing, Harold Sonny White, measurement of impulsive thrust from a closed radio frequency cavity in a vacuum. What is this? He's basically saying we've generated electromagnetic drive, free energy drive, that we have thrust just from electromagnetic fields. That's it. And this is exactly what Charles Bueller has been getting huge amounts of attention on. Recently, he was on Glenn Beck. We reviewed his video. We looked at his engineer. I went on the record saying I think this is absolutely legit. Well, so does Harold Sonny White, because he wrote 3 papers about it. Now, notice in the second paper, dynamics of the vacuum and Casimir analogs to the hydrogen atom. So basically here, he's referencing the Casimir effect. You'll notice all of these guys constantly reference the Casimir effect over and over and over again. Any papers by Zefram Cochrane? That's the guy. That's the Star Trek guy, Zefram Cochrane. I had to Google it, and then I remembered that the Star Trek movie First Contact that I watched in the 90s. And I was like, oh, that's the guy. Everybody's going to start calling me Zefram Cochrane. Too funny, man. Guys, at this point, I don't know what's real and what's not anymore. I could be Zefram Cochrane in the future. Who knows? I'm going to change my name to Zefram. It's like the fakest sounding name ever. Doesn't it sound like a fake name too? Sounds like Ashton Forbes changed his name to Zefram Cochrane. We're going to find out that Star Trek was A documentary telling the truth of the future. Okay. 2 more to go. Then we'll get to the Elon Musk stuff. Okay, Bob Baker is somebody that I didn't even know who he was. And he gets name dropped. And I decide he was the first person I looked up their papers. And I just went, what the F, man? We reviewed the paper that was like a presentation that talks about like introduction to gravity waves. One of the best papers I've ever watched, guys. The introduction to gravity waves from Bob Baker is just mind-blowing. He talks about all the applications, which is why the first one listed here is Applications of High-Frequency Gravitational Waves 2005. He talks about propulsion, energy generation, I think. He talks about using it as like a telescope. He talks about using it as communication method. I didn't even know half that stuff was possible related to gravity waves. I just thought maybe you could, propel a craft. This man's like, nah, we can do communication with it. We can do everything with high frequency gravitational waves. That's when I realized, holy shit, this is way more serious than I thought. Like, we're literally hiding high frequency gravitational waves from the public, from everybody. I'm sure the military is using it. That's probably what they're hiding in Antarctica, is some kind of high frequency gravitational wave telescope or detector or energy transmitter or all of the above. And then the next one, I mean, guys, just look through the list of Bob Baker's papers. And by the way, this isn't all their papers. I just picked some of the ones I thought was the craziest. Ultra high intensity lasers for gravitational wave generation and detection. Not just generation, but also detection. Ultra high intensity lasers. Now, right away, this made me think about the Eric Davis paper that we were just reading the other day about like pulsing the laser to increase its energy level. There was some kind of method like SAR or something like that they use. So here you go. Yeah, LIGO is a gravitational wave detector, but it's low frequency gravitational waves. Now, maybe it can be used for high frequency, but the public doesn't know about that. Low frequency gravitational waves are like when neutron stars collide, we can detect them. But high frequency gravitational waves are what we produce in the lab. Why is that important? Because if there's another species out there, or we are producing high frequency or gravity waves, we're not producing low frequency gravitational waves. We're producing high frequency gravitational waves. It's almost like having a transmitter or a receiver, like a radio receiver, but you only have it set to one dial, and the dial has static on it. It's like, just change the dial, bro. Change the dial. Change the dial, and now we're getting 20 different radio signals. We're seeing everything out there. This is where I'm like, this is why there's a suppression. LIGO could probably do way more than they're claiming. If not, then we could build a better LIGO. Now, the next one, detection of high-frequency gravitational waves by superconductors. What? Guys, when I interviewed Eric Hecker, one of the big things that he said was that Antarctica has 450,000 gallons of super cold, super fluid helium-3. And I went, that's interesting. Well, it turns out helium-3 can be used to cool semiconductors. What? So they actually like pour it maybe on, like, I'm guessing an array or like a giant telescope array or something like that, right? Like, I don't know if they coat it or what they do with it, but if that's being used for superconductors here, now we have literal evidence that Antarctica has a high frequency gravitational wave detector or transmitter or telescope or something, or all of the above right there. This is 2007. Also good fusion reactant. I didn't know that. Interesting. Good to know. Yeah, anytime I hear that people are hiding superfluid in massive quantities, I want to know a little bit about it, because it's a quantum liquid, basically. Okay, the next one, the generation of gravitational waves by lasers. Yeah, apparently it's a fusion fluid as well. That's good to know. Could have multiple purposes. Generation of gravitational waves by lasers. Okay. How much do you want to bet Pentosecond or whatever they called, a picosecond. I forget what the things are, but attosecond lasers. The person that won the Nobel Prize a couple years ago or last year won it for making an attosecond laser, which is 10 to the minus 18. What that means is there's 18 zeros, 18 zeros before you get to the frequency of the laser and how quick the laser is. I mean, it's, snapping your finger, it doesn't even count. Like, you can actually see the electrons like shift with lasers that are this fast. So that's, I mean, my man's all over the gravitational waves. And then lastly, my favorite, Salvatore Pais, high energy electromagnetic field generator. In this paper, he literally references some of these other people. He actually also references Hal Puthoff as well. I started looking through the references now that I know who some of these people are, and they're like referencing each other. Like, this is how you can realize that there's this network of the same science behind the scenes. It's wild to me. High frequency gravitational waves induced propulsion by Salvatore Pais. When I interviewed him, he sent me these. That's 2017. Notice the connection between Bob Baker and Salvatore Pais here. Oh, thank you very much, Mangel. Love to see you back in the chat. 4.7 billion spent on the Large Hadron Collider. How do you explain that spending if so many people were not in the loop just to prove the existence of the boson? Yeah, there's definitely more going on with like LHC and this stuff. Like, if you're really telling me they couldn't figure this stuff out with LHC, I'm calling bullshit. Either they've been sabotaged or they're being suppressed or something. The fact that there's been like no discoveries out of the LHC recently is extremely weird. Even Professor Keating, Brian Keating, I made the post like, why do you think we've not discovered anything? He's like, oh, well, what about LIGO? And I just laugh because I'm looking at these papers and I'm going, what about LIGO? Why is LIGO only detecting low frequency gravitational waves when I got a bunch of scientists and a dozen papers talking about high frequency gravitational waves? Like, LIGO is basically only one half of the coin and not even the one half that we want to see. Crazy. Plasma compression fusion device enabling nuclear fusion ignition. Like, Salvatore Pais' papers and patents, how have people not been paying more attention to these, man? This is crazy that people are not paying attention to Salvatore Pais' patents. Like, this is basic. Salvatore Pais basically took everything that all these other people have done over the last 20 years, 30 years, whatever we got here, and he just patented them all. And there was one that I didn't even post on here, but Bob Baker has a piezoelectric induced high temperature superconductivity paper as well. And then Salvatore Pais has room temperature superconducting system for hybrid aerospace craft and high temperature piezoelectric induced high temperature superconductivity. So Salvatore Pais obviously has read Bob Baker. He's obviously read Hal Puthoff. I don't know if they've worked together, but he knows their work beyond any shadow of a doubt. Wouldn't surprise me if all of these guys knew Thomas Bearden. So, like, if I'm drawing a web, these people know each other, man. I want to meet these people. I want to meet these people more than I want to meet celebrities. Okay? Some people want to meet celebrities and football players and shit like that. Not me. I don't care about any of that. I want to meet actors. I don't care about meeting Johnny Depp or Brad Pitt. My Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt are like Salvatore Pais and Harold Puthoff. I will geek out. So, yeah. Okay. Let's move on. So I strongly recommend you guys take that post very seriously. Usually my most serious stuff gets like the least views, even though it's the most important. Yeah, I don't even know about string theory. People say, do you think string theory is fake or this or that? Guys, the truth is it doesn't matter. Truth is a lot of that stuff doesn't even matter. What matters is us understanding how the real world works. And then we can come up with whatever terms we want to call it, you know? Like, what's dark energy? What's dark matter? We shouldn't be making terms up. Let's just figure out how it functions. And then we can start making terms up. Like the ether, the 0-point energy fluctuations, blah, 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 blah. Hey, Ezzy. I don't know how to say your name. Okay, Baker's Tuts made a 180. It's come a long way. I saw Elon Musk reply. That's our next thing right here. Do you think he will ever disclose some secret UFO information? We're going to talk about that right now, actually. So let's find it. Okay. So I woke up this morning to this. Whoa. I'm like, so this, for the record, for people who don't know what this was connected to, let's find it real quick so I can show you guys. You guys can see this, right? Yeah. I posted the link. Here it is. So Mario Nawfal, he's one of those Twitter influencers or something like that, found this old 10-year-old clip of Elon Musk. This is from 2016, talking about how much they've been able to increase the efficiency of the SpaceX rockets. So whenever I see stuff like this, I'm like, oh, I'm chiming in, because rocket propulsion is obsolete in the face of EM drive, gravity manipulation, negative energy, and space-time bending, right? It's obsolete in the face of that. So I decided to chime in. And I also did a quote tweet post on this as well, saying that like Elon Musk is either in the know or just ignorant. It's really hard to tell. Truth is, I'm still not sure, but I think at this point in 2024, he probably knows. When this video was filmed in 2016, he may not have known yet. So I just say it's only going to get crazier from here. Buckle up. What? Elon Musk? That's the real Elon Musk replying to me right there. Wow. And then my quick response. So, hi. This is the first time Elon Musk has ever replied to me on any post. Now, what's weird about this, guys? He didn't even reply to the main post. He just replied to me in the replies. If you watch his stuff, he doesn't really usually reply to replies, but he was replying directly to me here. And he's been called out related to my work before. I think it's very hard to believe he hasn't seen my work. I've gone viral like 10 times. We're talking like well over 1 million views. Okay. If your post has over 1 million views, there's a good chance people on Twitter are seeing it, even random people. I've had posts with 3-4 million views. Heck, my letter to Congress has almost 7 million views. So it's crazy to think that he doesn't know. Obviously, he must at least know about my work. So the fact that he's replying to me is my real name, my real picture, and I'm saying it's going to get crazier from here. Buckle up. I mean, if you read between the lines here, I'm talking about warp drives and stuff. And he just says, yep. What? Wow. I can't tell if he's trolling me. It's really hard to get a read on Elon Musk. And this is what's the truth is about these guys that know, even these engineers and stuff. The ones that are really knowledgeable, that are in the know, they're very, very smart, and they're very good at not necessarily lying, but their poker face is really good, right? They've learned that most of the world is a stage. They've learned that this technology is dangerous, and they have major incentives to not mention it at all. So if you take this combination, money, risk, as well as that everybody's basically a sheep on this planet, and it adds up to one thing. You're not going to say shit about this technology in the public. This is part of the same reason why if I got to work on this technology, I would do the same exact thing. In fact, if I get to work on this technology, you're not going to hear shit from me. People are going to be asking to talk to me. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. They'll be like, well, why don't you want to talk anymore, Ashton? I'm like, no reason. I'm good. I'll be trolling people too, people going, yep, it's about to get crazy from here. And I'll just be replying, yep. I mean, I'll be doing the same thing Elon Musk is doing. So I think that Elon Musk has to know. Elon Musk has a classified contract with the government. He's been having contracts with the intelligence agencies as well. He's been sending their spy satellites into outer space. So when we're literally looking at a spy satellite video here and Elon Musk won't comment on it, we should probably question it. There's coordinates in the bottom left of this video right here. In the bottom left, there's coordinates in this video. and it says NROL 22. Heck, is it? No, I think this is older than SpaceX, but I was going to say maybe SpaceX sent this satellite into orbit, right? I don't know. But NROL 22 is USA 184. And this satellite went into space in 2006. This was the first satellite to go up into space in the Sibers constellation. It's a constellation of connected satellites that are scanning the whole world. So if Elon Musk knows, he probably can't say anything about our surveillance capabilities. Like he has an NDA that like he can't talk about these videos. Like even if it's not related to what he sent in outer space, he can't say shit about this. That's the thing that makes me think that he knows the most. Because what that video right there, like this is totally up Elon Musk's alley. This is all the stuff that he should be interested in. So to me, I can't tell if he knows. Also, the whole Adrian Dittman thing is freaking me out, man. He sounds just like Elon. He has all the same interests. He like leans into it as well and like posts like stuff that Elon Musk would post. Man, it's weird. But I love Adrian Dittman. I'm a big fan of that guy. So I do have a clip. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Somebody sent me this clip, which now made me second guess whether or not Elon Musk knows. Here it is. Hold on. I think I'm going to have to. So that we can watch it without it being tiny or whatever this crap is. Twitter video download. So there's a clip of Elon Musk playing Diablo, and somebody actually asks him. It seems like they ask him about me. You guys will understand here in a second once I say. Free energy. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Okay, so here is the clip from Elon Musk. I just downloaded it.
I think
I'm going to fast forward it. It's
depends
like
on
somewhere
the
here in
time,
the
just
second
give
half.
me more context.
Okay.
Can't really do much for that.
Okay, this person's saying, do you think 0-point energy warp drive tech will be useful for interplanetary starship travel anytime soon?
If it exists. If it exists, yes. The answer is yes, but does it exist? But
This person's saying, do you think 0-point energy warp drive tech will be useful for interplanetary starship travel anytime soon?
if it exists. If it exists, yes. The answer is yes, but does it exist? By the way, it applies you have text.
Just gets asked, do you think 0-point energy and warp drive travel will be useful for interstellar travel? His response is, if it exists, yes. Now, when I read Elon Musk right there, he sounds like he's being truthful. So this makes me lean towards potentially like he isn't in the know, maybe. I really can't tell with this guy, man. I can't tell if he just has no idea, it's hard to believe. Like we looked at those scientific papers. Tons of papers about extracting energy from the vacuum, electrostatic propulsion, warp drives, wormholes. You would think a guy that has a SpaceX company and an electric car company would be spending money investing in that type of technology, or at least researching it. And if he's done the research I've done, he would have to know it's real and legit. So I can't tell. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that clip means that he's okay? 1 in the chat if you think Elon knows. 2 in the chat if you think Elon Musk doesn't know and he's ignorant. 1 in the chat if you think Elon Musk knows. 2 in the chat if you think he doesn't know, based on that clip and generally our interactions based on Elon. I truly don't know, guys. So 1 in the chat you think Elon knows. 2 in the chat if you don't think he knows. Curious what your guys' thoughts are. A lot of people think he knows, it looks like. Yeah. Wild. Pretty interesting. But yeah, this post has 250,000 views already. Hasn't even been 12 hours yet. 3. Good old 3. 1.5. Yeah, man, what a weird thing. Elon Musk also said he's an alien. and that nobody believes him. So Elon Musk, I believe you. I believe that Elon Musk is an alien. I think that sometimes when people say what they are, you should take them at their the face value and believe them. For the record, I believe Elon Musk is an alien. He just can't be a real human, you know? He just can't be. Okay. Good job, guys. Did he chip himself? Oh, that's a good question. Jessica coming off the top rope. Did he put a brain chip in himself? I don't think he has yet, but we'll see. Okay. Next thing, guys. Okay, let's go to the James Fox thing. I can't believe this James Fox post earlier today as well. James Fox, man, this guy. And he was replying to Elon Musk. So Elon Musk made a political post. And 1 times 1, guys, what does 1 times 1 equal? No, don't go there, guys. Let's not go there. I like Terrence Howard. I don't want to put him down. All of a sudden, James Fox is out here replying. Now, what you're going to realize from this is a lot of things. The reason why a lot of these UFO disclosure pseudo-celebrity people don't comment on political stuff is because their politics are awful. They've got awful takes on politics. I didn't want to have to say this before, but and it's fine if you're whatever your politics are, it's fine. But right now in this country, in the United States, a lot of the people that lean left are unfortunately brainwashed by the media, brainwashed by social media, brainwashed like their whole lives. In some cases, people that are older than I am, I'm 41, like my parents, stuff like that. They grew up in a time where the media told you the truth and that journalism actually meant something. We're in a world now where citizen journalists do more journalism than the mainstream media by far. It's not even comparable at this point. And podcasters do more journalism than these people. So I don't know if James Fox is a relic of those old days because he's older or what his situation is. But this is the reason why they generally don't comment on the politics, because they know their takes are awful. And it's also extremely hypocritical. So he says, I'm just curious how we maintain a democracy when the candidate you're supporting won't accept election results unless they favor him. So he's claiming that Trump like denied the election. It blows my mind that people are so upset that so Trump didn't concede. So what? Who cares if the candidate concedes? They act like this is some affront to democracy because someone didn't concede an election that they didn't think was fair. Who cares? It has no impact over how things played out. Some like just making some random statement. They're literally like, this is just literally woke mind virus crap, right? And he doesn't talk about January 6th here, but you know what his opinions are on January 6th. These people also think that a riot was an insurrection, even though nobody was charged with insurrection. It's like, how are you taking the government just at face value from the propaganda that they are just pummeling you? Also, he promoted climate change as a Chinese hoax. Dude, how can you be in the UFO community and you think that climate change is a serious problem? How can you think that? If you're in the UFO community, you must believe that there is advanced technology that can solve all of our problems. Even if you don't understand 0-point energy, you have to still believe that there's this. How else are aliens getting to us? They're not using rockets. They must have some advanced technology. Why would you, if you know if you believe there's technology out there that can solve all our problems, how is climate change a serious problem facing the planet? It's not. It can be solved overnight, just like that. Just with a snap of the fingers, here's the 0-point energy. Climate change is done. We don't have to change the climate anymore. Pollution doesn't need to happen anymore, right? Hates your electric cars. Does Trump even hate electric cars? And is trying to eliminate a woman's right to choose. So for the record, as much as like I'm actually pro-choice, technically, but that's just because I think that if it comes down to two people having a decision, the person carrying the baby should have more of a decision than random people do. That's ultimately where I draw my line, right? Whatever. But I think the idea of like that turning down Roe v. Wade means that like we're eliminating a woman's right to choose is crazy. It basically just leaves it up to the states to decide. So, states' rights. If you're a for states' rights person, and by the way, this is how it was before Roe versus Wade was actually ruled upon in like, when was it? Sometime between the 50s and the 70s. No, it's not even that long, I think. I think it was only like law for 30 or 40 years. Anyway, so the main thing here is like, how do you take all this propaganda? Because this is all just CNN brain level propaganda, right? It was the 70s. Yeah, okay. This is all CNN brain propaganda kind of stuff. And what you find out is that a lot of these UFO celebrities have CNN brain propaganda. That's how they imagine the world. And the thing that I can't understand related to this is, how do you hold the belief that the government is perpetuating what would be argued as being the largest conspiracy of all time, that aliens are visiting us using some super advanced technology that we don't understand or that we're trying to understand, but also at the same time, I'm just going to believe all the government propaganda being spewed to me by MSNBC and CNN. These two beliefs are incompatible. This is what I can't believe. This is like, there's not even a good comparison, honestly. And I'm not even somebody that believes in all conspiracy theories. I just believe that conspiracies are possible. And that's like the default basis for believing in this technology being covered up, aliens being possible. And this guy makes documentaries interviewing people about alien encounters. Like I said here, I can't imagine the cognitive dissonance that is required to hold these beliefs in your mind and try to keep the illusion alive that, yes, we're covering up these major aliens, but the government wouldn't lie to you about COVID. They would never lie to you about a mask. Obviously, J6 was an insurrection and our democracy is under attack. Like, you really just sucking down the propaganda like that? So this is the reason why the UFO community has never accomplished anything. I realized this early on. I thought that UFOs would be something that's apolitical, like the technology, the science. What I found was the opposite. A lot of these people, and I think Gary Nolan's probably one of them as well. I'm sure Jeremy Corbell is. I think that all of these guys, I think Ross Coulthart is as well. Maybe not, but I just think he might be. I think a lot of these guys are all CNN brain type thinker people. And that this is part of the reason why, like, I had so many people attacking me, trying to discredit me. None of them would look at this stuff, because for a lot of these people, they're not ready to believe what we see in these videos is possible, because this is a conspiracy that goes well beyond what their mind is able to accept. They're able to accept that aliens are somehow able to visit us, but they're not able to accept that the government would perpetuate a conspiracy and have the media lie to them. How crazy is that? They're willing to say, yes, aliens are possible, but wait, no, you said the government stole the plane and they had the media lie to me? No, that's not possible. Wild, man. Wild. And I will always remember, I'm not going to hold it against James Fox. I will forgive, but I will not forget. Okay? I forgive, but I do not forget. So I will always remember that James Fox was the first UFO disclosure advocate to chime in on these MH370 videos. Didn't do any analysis or anything. Claimed they looked fake as a $3 bill to him. And I will also remember that when I went on Julian Dory's in-person podcast, Julian Dory couldn't wait to tell me how great friends he is with James Fox, which tells you a lot about Julian Dory's politics as well and his state of mind, especially because Julian Dory didn't want to go on Rumble because he didn't like the kind of people that were on Rumble. And you kind of can read between the lines there. The people that are on Rumble are right-wingers. He doesn't like right-wingers. Julian Dory is very good friends with James Fox, according to Julian Dory. And he couldn't wait to tell me how fake James Fox thought the videos were. Probably told me several times. Unprovoked, by the way. I never asked anything about it. Which is pretty funny, because when Julian Dory tells the version of the story, it's completely different. It's something about how he had a bad vibe from me. When the truth is the exact opposite. So anyway, the people pushing this technology and this science and this, alien stuff, they don't even recognize the science or the technology when they see it in videos. They don't even recognize it because there's only two possibilities, right? Either they're controlled and they're lying. So James Fox either knows and he's lying, or he's just an idiot and doesn't even recognize the very thing that he's been trying to disclose. Unfortunately, I think it's the latter. I don't think James Fox is in the know. I think he just doesn't realize what science looks like. So, like I said here, whether or not you believe these videos are authentic, it doesn't even really matter because the science is real. And this is a direct quote from Bob Greenyer. That's what Bob Greenyer was talking about when I was at the Cosmic Summit. He said that whether or not you believe that, those videos are real doesn't even matter. The science is real. I just listed 20 scientific papers on my Twitter account earlier today. You can take a read from yourself. Make up your own mind. Those are all publicly available, peer-reviewed scientific papers as well. So enjoy those. Okay, the last thing for this evening is then the Lou Elizondo thing. Whoa. This has been a crazy day, guys. Yeah, these guys they definitely don't understand cold fusion. You have to realize that a lot of people, especially in the UFO community, they don't really understand science. Science to them is, what did Neil deGrasse Tyson say to me on TV today? Sad as it is to say, that's mainstream, like the CNN brain, MSNBC brain. Science is basically like whatever they're told to think, whatever they say. The newest science says this. Trust the science. Get your 12 vaccine shots for a cold virus, right? That's what these people think science is. These people think science is wearing a cloth mask outside to protect you from a submicroscopic virus, right? The sad part is Carl Sagan was right. We live in a world of science and technology where nobody understands science and technology anymore. That's just a sad world. And maybe that's just how it's going to play out when the science is skipping ahead of where public understanding is too far. I mean, I don't even understand how this phone works, right? I mean, I guess I understand from an electric perspective, but like I couldn't engineer this. This thing is really, really advanced. And we're talking about stuff that's decades more advanced than this, if not hundreds of years more advanced. Okay. Now, somebody posted this, and I generally don't promote Lou Elizondo stuff because I don't know what to believe of him. He's a counter intel guy. And I think that Lou Elizondo is very adept at lying and misinformation. In fact, I'm certain he is. Hey, Ocean. Appreciate you, boo. Appreciate you. By the way, I've got a lot of super hot followers as well, which I think is awesome. And, for the other ladies and other gentlemen as well, I'm sure you're also you have your pros and your cons, but it is something that I've just noticed as a trend. Okay. So here we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to objectify my followers there either. I apologize. So the thing about Lou Elizondo, though, is that he's been talking about. So here, let me set the stage for you guys on this. Bot Ligma, you were who I was talking about. Bach Ligma Johnson. Ligma Johnson, guys. If you don't get that, I do. So set the kind of the stage for you guys. Hold on. I'm going to objectify my man, William Bill, here. William Bill, good-looking guy. I'd like to see his orbs. That's about as inappropriate as I can get, guys. Okay. So Lou Elizondo has been promoting this 23-minute long video. And this 23-minute video, he was he couldn't talk about the 23-minute long video. So instead, it looks like he put them into this book, which I don't think many people expected. Now you can tell because it says right here, for 23 minutes, these craft tormented the predator. So he's talking about the 23-minute long video. We've looked at some of his videos, and he doesn't really answer any questions about this 23-minute long video. Well, in this book, he does. Let's read it. Another UAP video to hit my inbox involved a predator unmanned aerial vehicle drone, a UAV. So the MH370 video shows a UAV drone as well, conducting a surveillance of a nuclear facility in a particularly hostile country when its camera picked up 3 luminous objects. Just 3 dots. You could extrapolate that to presume that that's 3 orbs of light, right? I also want to point out the Predator is an MQ1 MQ1 Predator, I think. MQ1. Yeah. Or no, is it MQ9? Actually, no, the MQ1 is a Predator. Holy shit. So, yeah, actually, the MQ1B is a Predator as well. So now I'm wondering if the drone even is an MQ1C, whatever version of the drone is. What he's talking about here is the exact same kind of drone that we're talking about in the MH370 video. This thing where he's talking about the drone, the Predator, is literally this. In fact, I might FOIA this video, actually. I might actually FOIA this video he's talking about right here. Now that I think this is a really good ass idea. We're going to FOIA that video later. This right here that you're looking at is an MQ1 Predator drone. We believe it's a Gray Eagle model, but we don't. The only reason why we think that is we don't know. We don't know. Like, we've seen pictures with the cameras under the wings, but only on the MQ1C in the public. Doesn't mean the other ones can't. We just haven't seen it. But whatever this is an MQ1. We can tell based on the body shape. They all have the same body shape. T. Powell thinks it's a B drone as well. Maybe. Maybe he's going to end up being right about that. If so, that'll be one of the only things he was right about. Interesting point, though. And I've never ruled it out. We just, we only go with the information that we have. So then he says, inexplicably, the dots began to fly in a regimented formation, a perfect triangle. What? I'm sorry, what? A perfect triangle in your classified military video? Where have we seen that before, chat? Oh, I know, right here. He's talking about exactly what we're seeing in this video right here. Perfect triangle formation. When somebody says perfect triangle, they're talking about an equilateral triangle. That's because all the angles are exactly the same on the equilateral triangle. Yeah, exactly. WTF. He's talking about exactly this right here. This actually made me wonder if he was talking about this video. But it can't be this video because this video is only a minute long. He's talking about a 23-minute long video over some kind of nuclear site in a hostile territory. So somebody who made this video had to have known about that video if this video is a hoax, or how did they know to make this equilateral triangle? This video is from 2014. Lou Elizondo's book is from next month. Nobody's in the public has ever seen the video he's talking about in this book. So now Lou Elizondo is corroborating 3 glowing orbs in a triangle formation buzzing a Predator drone. And we're looking at a video from 2014 of 3 orbs in a triangle formation circling around MH370. No, I don't think this is a partial of the 23-minute video. And the reason is this is over the ocean. And Lou Elizondo says that his situation was over in enemy territory over a nuclear facility. So really, really different scenario. Really different scenario. So I don't think that they're the same video. What I will say is Lou Elizondo knows this video is legit. There is no effing way that Lou Elizondo does not know this video is legit. If you've seen a Predator drone video of orbs in a triangle formation around a plane, and you're looking at this, or the other video we were just looking at, the drone video, you must know that this is a legit video of a drone because you've seen other similar ones. This explains why the AARO went dark, right? This is why the AARO went dark. They have other footage that corroborates this footage is real. Lou Elizondo's book just corroborated it. I didn't know about Lou Elizondo's upcoming book. I didn't know the 23-minute video had 3 circling orbs in a triangle formation. How is this not just proof of the video's authenticity right off the bat? Now, in order to fake this video, you have to have classified information about other classified videos that the world had no idea about in 2014, that we still don't know about in 2024, that we only know about. I mean, look at this. This is what Elizondo is talking about seeing. Something just like this. The only thing he doesn't mention is the heat signatures. He doesn't mention the heat signatures, and he doesn't mention the teleportation, but that doesn't mean he didn't see teleportation or something weird happen. He just didn't mention it in this book. I mean, look at that. Jesus. Okay. So he says they approached the predator and they became more distinguishable. They were not only flying, but they were solid in structure. So what he's saying here is this is not just some gaseous thing. This is a solid, structured orb. He's probably looking at plasma orbs just the same way that we looked at. Because when we look at that drone video, and I'll show the other one, whatever we're looking at, I would call it solid in structure. You can see what we refer to as the non-radiating barrier. The non-radiating barrier is this field that you see around the orb. Like right here, you see this field around the orb on the left here. You can tell there's a distinct solid structure to this orb. And I'm guessing he saw the heat signature as well, and he probably just wasn't allowed to mention the heat signature in the book. But my guess is he was looking at basically the exact same thing that we're seeing right here. The big question here is, does this mean that these videos are aliens, non-human intelligence, or is this our technology? I still think I'm going to change my revision. I was probably 99% sure this is our technology. 1% sure possibility that we randomly caught non-human intelligence zapping the plane away. I'm going to revise it. I'm going to only say I'm 95% sure now that this is our technology. 5% that this was some either other country or non-human intelligence situation. Now, keep in mind, non-human intelligence does not mean little green men. It's everything from AI to future humans to some kind of other civilization on our planet that is like some type of cousin of us that we don't know about. Breakaway civilization. Could be a lot of different stuff. So I think it's kind of fun that the more we learn, the less sure we are of this. Because that shows that the investigation is unbiased. It shows that we don't have a predetermined explanation, We're just trying to figure out what makes sense. So he sees that they're solid in structure. For 23 minutes, these crafts tormented the predator. That's a long time, 23 minutes. Now, why is 23 minutes important? 23 minutes means these orbs, these balls of energy, must be extracting energy from the environment. They must be. What he just wrote here proves 0 point energy is real. The only way this is possible is if these orbs are able to extract energy from the environment. When I say environment, I mean 0 point energy field. They're self-sustaining. 23 minutes is a long time, guys. For the record, jets and stuff like that don't fly for very long because they burn fuel really, really quickly. Now, I'm sure they can fly for maybe, I don't know, a couple hours. I have to look it up. But generally, it's not as long as you think. Especially when you have this just orb that's just floating around freely, So they traveled 60 miles in the blink of an eye. How would they travel 60 miles in the blink of an eye? Warp drive. Warp drive. You bend space and time, and you can be here, then you can be over there. 60 miles isn't even that far, honestly. So within a few seconds, traveling 60 miles, if you're able to go thousands of miles an hour, 14,000 miles an hour, yeah, you can travel like that. You're bending space-time. This also makes me wonder whether or not Hal Puthoff and all these other guys that have been writing about gravitational waves, if they didn't have some, let's call it inspiration for the technology. That maybe they saw this stuff and then they figured it out the same way we're looking at it and figuring it out. But they had the benefit of a bunch of experience and what have you. I was just a dude that was a healthcare IT consultant and who loved science and physics. And now I'm, getting pulled into all this stuff. Let's see. Let's finish it off here. Okay. They traveled 60 miles only to dart back to the shadow of the predator within a few hundred feet. If they were not amazing enough, the three craft would routinely reorient themselves, switching from a wedge formation to a linear formation. So they go from a triangle to a line. As they danced around in the sky, they appeared to be toying with our predator. See what we can do and you can't, was the message I often felt in my gut. The craft seemed curious about the predator, often coming in for a closer inspection. Later, I recall this with a Navy fighter pilot, Alex Dietrich. He was the one in the Nimitz encounter. He described the 2004 Tic Tac as maneuvering in a playful manner. Playful, what a strange description. So this does make you wonder if somebody else is messing with them. Now, this does not rule out black projects at all. You could still imagine like third-party defense contractors who have this technology like messing around, but definitely makes it more questionable in general. Now, this is the full version of it here, which I cut out the bottom part and some of the discussion, which I'm going to go into here. I shared this video with my highest level industry experts. So this is interesting. He says he went to his highest level experts. Aviation experts don't mince words. They literally do. They literally all do real watch, real life, filmed or simulated aircraft day after day. They can spot something off kilter in a flash. This is what I want you to keep in mind. Why is that sentence so important, guys? What that sentence there says is that people who are experts, they can tell that the MH370 videos were fake in an instant. Nobody has been able to put an adequate debunk of the videos. Nobody's come forward and said, I'm an expert in that. These videos must be fake because it's missing this or that or what have you. In fact, the opposite has happened. People have come out and said, I'm an expert in Navy intelligence and you're right over the target. Right? If the MH370 videos were fake, there should be dozens of people like the guy that Elizondo is talking about right here that come out and are constantly in the replies, nope, this can't be real. This is like, I work with these every single day. I do analysis for the Navy, blah, blah, blah. Here's the dozen reasons why it doesn't match the real deal, right? Instead, we have Redditors and people who have no knowledge whatsoever making up fake explanations for why they think the videos can't be real with no basis in reality. This should be a huge indicator that the MH370 video is real. Not only consistent with Elizondo's other citing that he's talking about classified military footage, but there has been basically nobody with any expertise or authority that's claimed that these videos are fake. The MH370 video was one. And I know that politicians have basically, I don't know if briefed is the right word, but they've been told about these videos. I know for a fact. Why is everybody so silent about it? If they're fake videos, don't you think people be hopping over themselves, jumping over themselves to show how fake they are? So he asked him, are these conventional aircraft? No, not a chance. Well, let's pretend they're conventional. What could they possibly be? Give me the options you can think of. The expert says, well, I suppose if someone had the ability to create a semi-inflatable balloon with a two-way induction fan in the middle that was shrouded and cooled using superconducting avionics, stealth skin, and paint, I suppose it's possible. But then you have a power supply issue. No battery can last that long. Here's the rub. That's the key at the end. No battery can last that long. These must have an external power source. The orbs he's talking about in his classified video. And what we figured out from the leaked military videos is it's cold fusion. They're extracting energy from the 0 point system the exact same way that cold fusion will do it. How do we know? Because we talked to the cold fusion expert, low energy nuclear reaction expert and engineer and experimenter, Bob Grenier. He says it's consistent with a magnetic monopole and low energy nuclear reactions because we can literally see the heat signature in there. And that's why I foiled the DOE and talked to the DOE today. Is that what we're seeing here? No, not a chance, he says. And then I'm going to read this last paragraph. Around this time, Hal Puthoff appeared in my office to share a fascinating theory. What? He randomly just ran into Hal Puthoff in his office right after this? The same guy that I was just talking about in the giants of electrical engineering and government engineers today? Like, I didn't see this until after I already wrote that Shoulders of the Giants post. And then I see this, and he's talking about Lou Elizondo is talking with Hal Puthoff. I guess it shouldn't be that odd because weren't they in the To the Stars Academy together or something like that? But the fact that he's connected to Hal Puthoff, who's got these papers about extracting energy from the environment, I half expected this paragraph to say they must be extracting energy from the environment. It's just a weird name drop right there. He'd been thinking about how the Roswell crash was believed to have been caused by DoD experiments with electromagnetic pulse energy, a byproduct of the atomic bomb. At one point of the nearby test ranges, at one of the nearby test ranges. So this is a common theory: is that the electromagnetic pulses theoretically can shoot down these objects. Maybe they're UFOs, whatever you want to call them. But that because they use electric pulses, because they extract energy from the environment using electromagnetism, if you hit them with an EMP, they're going to fall from the sky. Their weakness is it's like a robot. Once you use a scalar, and I'm calling them scalar weapons, but when I refer to scalar weapons, I'm basically referring to extremely high energy electromagnetic pulses that can be transmitted at a distance at faster than the speed of light. And nukes, as you're going to see from this next part, give off electromagnetic pulses. Scientists learned early on that one of the byproducts of an atomic bomb was the intense emission of neutrons and a nuclear electromagnetic pulse that could be used to fry the circuits of any electronic device by overloading the circuit or the system. It makes perfect sense. So if the theories are true that UFOs or whatever don't like nuclear test sites, this is why. This is like their kryptonite. As you shoot them with an electromagnetic pulse, you knock it out of the sky. In fact, you could argue that we can turn radar into transmitted electromagnetic pulses and that we can use radar to knock these objects out of the sky. Scalar beams, basically. Pretty wild stuff, guys. So if Lou Elizondo's, oh, by the way, Lou Elizondo's book also has another chapter called Orbs. Orbs. I didn't read the rest of it. People will send it to me, I'm sure. I'm not going to read his book, and I'm not going to buy his book. But I do think that story is pretty damn interesting. So what did we learn from this? Lou Elizondo must know that MH370 videos are real. That's like if I saw a video of a dude skateboarding around, pulling awesome tricks off, and then somebody shows me another video of a dude skateboarding, pulling awesome tricks off, I'm going to be like, yeah, that's a real video. I just watched a video of a dude skateboarding. So to be like, no, that video's fake, but I saw a video just like that doing the exact same thing. That's a classified video that nobody in the world has seen publicly, right? Come on, man. He knows. No chance. So we determined Lou Elizondo knows. James Fox probably has no idea. And Elon Musk, we can't really tell, guys. So Elon Musk, maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't know. I think he probably does. James Fox, no idea. Dude's in the dark, CNN brain. Lou Elizondo definitely knows, no question. What a crazy time to be alive, guys. And we found, I don't know, a dozen scientific papers, 20 scientific papers about extracting energy from the environment, high-frequency gravitational waves, using the great waves for propulsion, other mechanisms as well. The science is all out there. It's all, a lot of it's based on the Casimir effect as well. Okay. I think that's all we're going to do for tonight. Let me see if I'm missing anything else. Oh, and then we did a little high level of the case for the first hour. I think the biggest thing, the biggest puzzle piece that we have left, how do we produce negative energy? How do we produce negative energy? You know what? I'm going to show this video before we go on that. The negative energy video is so important that I'm going to show it again. Negative mass, negative mass, negative energy. Now, keep in mind, mass and energy are interchangeable because E equals mc squared. So because they're interchangeable, we can look at it from a creating negative mass, or we can look at it from a creating negative energy problem. If we can create negative mass or negative energy, we can produce a repulsive effect or attractive effect, however you want to think of it, that can pull an object along through space-time. How do we know that? Because of this video right here. Oh, crap. Why does it do that? Here we go. Wait, can you guys hear this? Hold on. Let me do reshare. I don't think you guys can hear this. Okay, now you guys can hear it.
Let's see what happens in an inelastic collision where one of the blocks has a negative mass.
I mean, right away, this should immediately freak you out. You're like, if the block is positive mass, like, you know, like an elastic collision, hits it and keeps going, it's going to slow down. That's just how we think. You hit another block, you're going to slow down. Why? Because the total mass is now 6 kilograms. Total mass is increased. Acceleration equals force divided by mass should slow down. But with negative mass, you do the math and it speeds up.
We still aren't worrying about forces at this point. We're just assuming that the blocks can stick together without any trouble. In this setup, when the big block hits a positive mass target, it slows down. But when it hits a negative mass target, it speeds up. Why? Because the combined mass is smaller than the big block alone. So for momentum to be conserved, it has to move faster. If the two masses are close to being equal and opposite, the combined mass is very small, and they move very fast.
Sorry, I was muted right there. Okay, so I apologize. To go back to this, so why does this go even faster?
Combined mass is very small.
The answer is pretty straightforward, right? Because when you take 5 minus 4, you get 1 kilogram. So the denominator is decreasing every time you increase the negative mass until it gets to equal amount, right? So as long as our negative mass is increasing, it's going to cancel out. So then this is going to make the acceleration continue to increase. Right here. So you can see the acceleration, 5 divided by 9 or 5 divided by 1. 5 divided by 1 is 5. So this is going to go much faster than the positive. So then the logical question is, well, let's make, what happens when we have equal amounts, as Enchanted Nightbird just pointed out here in the chat. What happens then if you have equal amounts? If you have 5 kilograms and negative 5 kilograms, what's the total mass? 0. What's anything divided by 0? Infinity. Anything divided by 0. And somebody was arguing with me that it's not infinity. Just keep making your denominator smaller and smaller and smaller, and you will realize that your acceleration here approaches infinity. So yes, dividing by 0 is technically infinity.
And if they're exactly equal and opposite.
Oof. So when they're exactly equal and opposite, teleportation. Object instantly disappears. Now, we don't necessarily need it to instantly disappear, but this goes to show us that if you manipulate the amount of negative energy, that's like increasing or decreasing your speed, right? Based on how much when we saw from the beginning, if we use a small amount of negative energy, we get a small acceleration.
Has a negative mass.
If we use a medium size of negative energy, we get more acceleration.
Because the combined mass
There's a
is
proportionate
smaller than the big block
increase here. And then when we use a lot, 4, we get a very high acceleration.
The combined mass is very small, and they move very.
And if we use the exact equal amount, then we get teleportation. So what are the orbs doing in the MH370 videos? They're mapping the mass
equal and opposite
of the plane. So this tells us exactly what the orbs are doing. The orbs need to know what the mass of the plane is. Why? This video is why. Because when you know the mass of the plane, you know how much negative energy and negative mass you need to change your speed around. And they're not just, yeah. It shows the nuclear explosion. Why? Because E equals MC squared. Energy equals mass. And we probably figured this out back.
Let's see what happens in an inelastic collision where one of.
We probably figured this out back during the Manhattan Project, would be my guess. I think we've probably been hiding this for at least 80 years. Maybe we figured it out from Roswell. I don't really know. but I think this technology goes way back. I think they've been hiding this for a long time. I think they know we can produce negative energy, negative mass. I think that the defense contractors, the private military contractors, have been producing negative energy probably for decades. And you just put your negative energy laser, dark energy laser, whatever the hell you want to call it. Dark energy is negative energy. And now you can have your orb float freely around anywhere you want it to go. Pretty cool, huh? How do you control the endpoint? Great question. So, how do you control the endpoint in a rubber band? It's based on how much force you apply, right? If I pull a lot of force and I shoot this rubber band, it's going over against the wall. If I use a little bit of force, then it only floats down there on the ground. So how do you control the endpoint? There's two ways. One is the amount of squeezing. The harder you squeeze, the further it's going to go. So you can imagine it like, I say the shoot the moon game. If you're not familiar with shoot the moon, you put a ball on two metal poles and you pull the poles apart. And however, the harder you squeeze it, the further the ball rolls up the hill. Same concept. So it could be how hard you squeeze it, shoots the object. Or the other way you can look at it is the fourth orb theory. 4 orbs. And the fourth orb theory would say it's going to stop instead of the rubber band shooting off over there, right? Or over there, wherever it just went. The rubber band's going to stop wherever the fourth orb is, okay? So this is where the fourth orb is. Stops right here. Why is it stopping right there? Because regardless of how much energy I put into it, these orbs are entangled to the fourth orb. And if they're entangled, then that's where they're going to stop and that's where they're going to go. So 2 different ways. One is based on the force of the squeezing. That's what Bob Greenyer believes it is. He believes that it's just based on how much you squeeze it. And then the Dave Rossi theory is that it's an entanglement effect. And that determines where the orbs in the plane show up. Pretty cool, right? So 2 different interesting theories. I don't know which one. I personally lean towards the fourth orb hypothesis because it's the same as my last name, Forbes. I think that's just pretty cool. And I got a big sign that says 4 orbs. So I got to believe in the 4 orbs theory, right? End of the day, though, I don't know. So I hope you guys have appreciated this. I see a lot of good comments in the chat. I'm glad we're waking people up to this. I got like 1,000 new followers today just from Elon Musk's post in general. End of the day, it's about waking people up. I was not somebody that automatically believed the MH370 videos were real. I just thought if these videos were real, then there must be a way to prove it. There must be a story that goes along with this plane disappearing that is consistent with these videos being real. And sure enough, there's a story that goes along with the videos being real. Not only is there a story about the missing plane with the videos being real, but all the science about the videos is also real as well. So my mind has been blown through this. If your mind's been blown, you're in the same boat that I am. I've been living this movie every day of my life for the last year. And the truth is, what have I learned? I've learned that the world is not ready for these videos. The world is not ready. Most people, this is just way too far beyond the paradigm of what they think is possible, which goes to show how advanced this technology is. Whoever has this technology here controls the whole planet, period. No doubt. And it also begs the question of, where is this technology coming from? How long have we had it? Why are we hiding it? I also think that I think that this technology is dangerous, extremely dangerous. I think that this type of technology bends all of reality. There might be time effects related to this technology. And I think this technology can destroy the whole planet. I think they'll just, like, in the snap of a finger, destroy the whole planet. So this would explain why I think they're hiding it. The problem with the letter to Ashton Forbes is that it is 10 minutes long, 11 minutes long. I guess we can do you guys want to close out the letter to Ashton Forbes, guys? We can do that. Well, let me see if I have it ready to go. Oh, I do. Let's see if this works.
A submission sent to us the 8th of January of 2024. It's a letter to an Ashton Forbes.
Okay, what we'll do here, guys, because not everybody has seen this. This is 11 minutes long. This will be how we'll close out the stream for tonight. I'm just going to play this out. I'll probably let it play, and I'll close my video out. So thank you, MH370X, for hanging out tonight. I appreciate it. This is a letter that appeared on a YouTube channel January, what was it, 8th or 9th or something like this. So about 6 months ago. And it's the weirdest thing that's ever happened in my life by far. I didn't make this. Nobody I know made this. I questioned a lot of people because just the amount of information that you would have to know to even make this video that you're about to watch, you'd have to know more than I know about the case of the missing plane. Part of this information actually made me reevaluate some of the evidence, but this video, I believe, was meant as a inspirational message to me for me to not stop doing what I'm doing. So that's what I want you guys to know. If you haven't watched this, pay attention. This video is better than anything you'll ever see on Netflix, okay? So listen to this.
Forbes telling a new story of what happened to Malaysian Airlines MH370 that disappeared back in 2014. And as always, don't trust what you read on the news. Trust your own capability to see the world for what it really is. Here we go.
I work or have worked at a military base in the Maldives, and I know exactly what happened to Malaysian Airlines MH370. This is also a letter to Ashton Forbes. You are not wrong, and what you do are much bigger than you even can imagine. Don't stop what you are doing. I won't tell anything about myself more than that I currently or in the past has spent time at a military base in the Maldives. That I have done this type of work since I joined the military when I was young, and that was many decades ago. Still in the game, but the years are starting to get to me. I write this because I want the world to know that most of the trouble on Earth are created for political reasons. United States, or at least a covert administrative elite of the U.S., has, at will, complete control, and this has been true since the 60s. Flight MH370 arrived at our base, by our hand, at 1856 UTC after we picked it up, mid-air, outside the island of Great Nicobar. Just one of many, many things we do. We can pick up anything, anywhere, and deliver it in an instant, like a magic FedEx. Some facts about why it happened. MH370 had defectors on board. They were running to China with American technology. They are Chinese by blood and had gotten themselves into a situation with the Chinese regime who got them to choose to defect. The whole play, everything, and I mean everything about it, was a political play to show the Chinese who's their daddy. That's us. Some facts about how it happened. All passengers are dead, all but the handful of deflectors. The plane did not crash. The plane was on fire, we know because we started it. The plane was picked up by us, on fire, mid-air, right in front of the Chinese. The Chinese regime knows exactly what happened, and that was the whole point of the operation. Okay, this is what I want to share with you. As I said, I have been doing this for a long time. I know the technology and have been a part of hundreds of operations. So let's start with the tech. The foundation is not superconductivity. Superconductivity is a product of the technology. We have had this since the 1960s, and from that first day we have used it to make sure that no one else can have it. The big breakthrough to apply the tech as we do today came in the beginning of the 2000s with quantum computers, and by this, the paradigm for AI technology. What we had to do programmatically before, we now can do with something akin to machine intuition. This lets us operate in fast-moving environments where event-based logic in linear programming was very limited. As I said, what you have found is not the technology itself, it's just one of many derivatives of the technology. I encourage you to keep on with what you are doing, but you should also be aware that there is a deeper layer that you could focus on instead of the Miami aliens that I see you have been posting about. I will give you some pointers for this at the end of this letter. The products or application you are now working on is correctly based on superconductivity. The number of orbs you've been speculating about is correct. The fourth orb decides where the object ends up. The technology is based on structures, simple and beautiful structures that lets us use the unlimited power that is everywhere. and step outside what I would like to describe as perceived reality. The structure that is used for what you are looking at is a metastructure that creates a low complexity and relative low energy phase transition. The beauty of this technology lies in its elegance and simplicity. The structures are inherently stable and self-regulating, and the earlier challenges to conduct operations were 100% based on the limits of man. With the same technology, just a slightly altered monostructure gives us an infinite power generator that without maintenance can run forever. Combine structures to a meta-product again, and you have the propulsion for a transmedium object moving faster than light. It's the definition of magic. There are endless applications, and the truth is that it would change the world in an instant. But that won't happen. I bet yourself, or at least most of your audience, have heard a version of the story that the aliens are here and they want to bless us with new, clean, and revolutionary technology, but we are a too young and rowdy civilization and would not be able to be responsible enough with the gifts from them. That's probably made up, but that is at the same time completely true. It's just not aliens saying this. It's us again. The technology is infinite in its power, and if two rivaling parties had access to it, this world wouldn't last a day. The same technology, with a combination of monostructures, makes a terrifying weapon that turns any matter into dust, and that dust turns into air. It does not matter if the object is a small bird or an aircraft carrier. It cannot be stopped. It does not miss, and when the object has been hit, the phasing cannot be stopped. Okay, so back to MH370. We knew about the deflectors as soon as they made their decision. Well before that, but then they weren't deflectors. Anyway, we knew when, how, and why back in December, and as we do, we made it into politics. We let them go. We took them back and sent the Chinese a clear message of who is in control. And we did this with a brilliantly produced show that is fit for a Hollywood production. Any good movie has fire, desperation, regret, and drama. And every movie villain should see their plan fall apart. And in really good movies, just when the villain has accepted that the plan has failed, the heroes of the movie steps in and makes it worse. This is what happened. As soon as we knew what plane was the last leg of their journey, we planned and delivered, so the plane was loaded up with lithium-ion batteries, built by us for this occasion. Lithium-ion batteries cannot be put out, has a predictable burn rate, and we made sure that the volume was just right for a long burn that would allow for a full-length show. The Chinese were following the plane since it was on the tarmac and got to see their most close-to-success operation go up in flames. And just as all hope was lost, we made it worse. Right in front of their eyes, 2 hours and 13 minutes in, they saw the plane get phased out of there by the same technology they were trying to get access to. And 5 days later, the Chinese officially made a gesture of submissiveness by publishing a frame from the satellite of the phase moment via the State Administration for Science. The publishing was talked about in American newspapers as a possible debris field. But when you know what you are looking at, it's clear what the frame shows. The aftermath. During the 5 days after the show, the Chinese found out about the batteries, that we both made and placed them on the plane. They accepted that we have been playing with them the whole time and at the same time could accept that the people they had convinced to deflect did what they wanted. It was us that stopped them. The deflectors had a good corrective experience when it comes to staying loyal and were back on the job as usual, but with a new understanding both of their importance and the consequences of their actions. What was nothing more than another Friday at the office for the administrative elite, 200 people had the most confusing death experience you could imagine. 1,500 people lived a tragedy, losing family members in a mystery, and 10,000s spent months searching and millions speculating for years. Then in 2014, military footage of the event got published on YouTube. not our problem. The person responsible for the leak was identified and taken care of. Not by us, not our problem. Then came you. Hi, Ashton. Impressive. This is what I want to leave you with. There was a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast that was talking about sacred geometry and some new technology his friends had discovered on some island somewhere. He did record another episode, but it never been published. Doesn't the wording sacred geometry remind you of something? If you choose to spend time on this, which I think you should instead of mall aliens, keep in mind that your case is one product of the technology. What happens on the other island, you will understand this if you pursue it, is another more rudimentary product. What if those in combination could lead you on the right path to the actual technology? The gray-bearded man is the key, and he probably has no idea that he is. Finally, I want to say this. How do you defeat someone who can turn skyscrapers to dust, completely erase whole neighborhoods in an afternoon, and steal a burning Boeing 777 midair? Someone who, when needed, has the complete control of all media and crafts the perception of events and has most of humanity eating from its hands. After almost a full life in their service, I think I know the answer. You talk about them, and you don't stop talking.
Okay, chat. Well, I think that's enough internet for one night. So for the record, I've listened to that video over 50 times. Every single time, even now, the hair stands up on my arm when I listen to it. I think I probably know more about that video than most people do. I can recite passages of it word for word. There's no way AI like prompted that with a language learning model. Somebody wrote that and they used an AI voice translator to potentially even change the language. I don't know. There was a follow-up on this channel. You guys can go down the rabbit hole. There was a whole thing about it. There was like 2 clarification things where they were talking to us in later videos that they made. And then after like 3 or 4 more videos, the whole channel just disappeared and went dark. This channel basically existed to put 10 videos on the internet. The letter dash in Forbes is right in the middle of those videos. Disappeared off the face of the planet after that. The more time goes by, the more I'm convinced that that's a legit video. I'm going to post a link to in the chat here for you guys. And I thought maybe there was a chance that person was trying to leech off of my popularity. And maybe they were trying to build their own video. Even if they were trying to do that, even if they were trying to leech off of it, still impressive. That AI story is that story is way too much knowledge. It had knowledge, and they included details that I didn't even know, like the timing that the plane was arrived and stuff like that when they teleported it. Way too much stuff in there. So there's a link to the YouTube if you guys want to check it out. You can listen. I think it's the 2 videos after have like a little segment in them at the beginning where they talk about it. At one point, the person talks about needing to get a martini. That's a clear nod to me. So I really don't know. That video is the scariest thing, the weirdest, scariest thing that's ever happened in my whole life. You have to be a massive stalker and an insane person to fake something like that. I don't even know how somebody would. The deflectors comment, this is actually mentioned in the follow-up video. So everybody was saying, why does it say deflectors? They say that they use Google Translate and Grammarly to convert the letter to a voice AI, and that all the AI voices on that channel are fake, and that presumably that's the reason why that either the Grammarly or the AI translator or whatever messed up and it got an L in there. I think I lived in Southeast Asia, so there's a lot of grammar mistakes in the letter that are consistent with somebody who's a non-native English speaker that lived in Asia. So I'm just throwing that out there. It's possible that this came from an intelligence agency that is not the United States. It's possible that it came from our own intelligence agencies. It's possible, based on the leaker being a Taiwanese American, that somebody related to leaking these videos posted that. Maybe someone from Taiwan. Could be someone from anywhere. We really don't know is the answer. So it's just a crazy video. So I put the link in the chat. You guys can check it out. I'll post it up here again one more time. I will also post out the Discord for you guys. Thanks everybody tonight for watching the stream. It was a big stream. It was a big day. Pretty wild. I just hope we get the truth one day, man. That's what I hope. And I do want to thank you guys very much for hanging out. MH370X. Peace. I love you guys. It's been awesome, man. Have a good night, everybody. Let's go with, what are we going to play out here tonight? I'm going to play this first real quick.
The Highlander was just a movie. I mean...
Oh, Frylock, The Highlander was a documentary, and the events happened in real time.
Okay, let's listen to the Pepe cipher. Thank you, Pepe, for this.
Infrared eyes, scanning the black, tracking the heat, never turning back. Control 22, a covert gaze. Control 33, in the cosmic maze. Controls in the mix, secrets untold. Silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interest, far and wide. As fears, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. In the silence of space, they keep their post, shields unseen yet feared the most. With precision and speed, they warn of danger, keeping us safe from the missile's anger. As beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. Controls in the mix, secrets untold, silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interest, far and wide. As fears, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. As fears, sentinel of the night, watching